Hey, everybody, what's happening? I'm Admiral Tommy Scoville. You're on the lifeboat. It's, boy, it's chilly in here. All right, Jason P., good to see you. Hey, Kathy Ann, I'm glad you're here. My other's keeper, good to have you. DS Kitty, hello, Diane. Marion Calabro, I'm glad you're here. Blessed to Crochet, what's happening, Mary? Wouldn't be a show without you. Jersey Lisa, how you doing? Layla, just Joan, what's up? Kim is Blue, Dennis N, I'm glad you're here. What's up, Mo Love? Hey, Melissa. Inappropriate Hefner, AJ Speaks, Dennis, Cooler by the Lake, Sarah Bone. Hey, hello, Renee. Renee Rainbow, isn't that lovely? Heather in the library, what's happening? Shelly Kelly, glad you're here. Chris Crafts and Coffee. Hello, Mara. Always an honor. Monk. How are you, my brother? Cheryl Niles, good to see you. But first, a little coffee or a little water. Christy Cress, Regina Patnode. True story, I'm so thankful for Reese because her shows made me come to the boat. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I really do. And you know what? Anybody that shows up here, I'm always really thankful. Jamie Palmer, good to see you. Just Pauline, how are you? Susie in Paradise, Third Eye Open. Loved your show on dreams. Fascinating stuff, and I can't wait to hear more, says Third Eye Open. I'll tell you something. I got a really interesting series on dreams. We're going to be talking about them a lot because there is some really fascinating stuff. There's just more and more coming out. I'm taking a lot of notes, doing a lot of deep diving. But tonight we're going to talk about a lousy, no good cult. Third Eye Open, how are you? By the way, I'd like to think of us as cult busters, and I'm going to ask for a little help because I think we can take this shit down. I'm not even joking. I think if we all put a little effort in, this thing's ready to go. And I'll tell you my opinion on this and why, but I'm not joking. I think it's ready to go. Subi, what's happening? Sarah, John Van Geest, so glad you are here. Sarcastic RN, looking great in green. Thank you so much. And Christy Hughes, you know what? Christy never, ever, ever fails to give credit to the people that need it and deserve it the most. My mods, who are the best in the business, and they need to be because I'm a really annoying guy and most people hate me. Lori Lee. Oh my God, did you see that Adam Cruz or Tom Cruise went to Taylor Swift's concert and was handing out bracelets with young girls while skipping his estranged daughter's graduation? Wow, how classy. Yeah, he's a good dude. Good dude. Really a good dude. Kevin Hawthorne from Lakeland, Florida. It's an honor, Kevin, every time you're here, man. I mean that. I really do. LEJ is making it rain, people. You people are turning green. Why, thank you. You were waiting for for me to pop back up again. Love the stream with Reese. Oh, well, that's nice. Thank you, Anna. Karen Pooley, good to see you. Karen Stein. Why, thank you. Treating Reese nicely is a labor of love, people. You can thank me, but I do that for me. I really do. Late night snacks, but I appreciate it. She's easy to want to help. Tiffany Alone, good to see you. Carol Stewart, how are you? Lisa Trimble, you made it again. Good to see you. Alicia says, I love the dream stuff. Filled my daughter in. Much love to you, Tommy. Glad you're feeling better. I am. Thank you. I am feeling better, Alicia. I appreciate you. Yeah, the dream chats are going to be fun. I referred to you as our leader, and my roomie said, sounds like a cult. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We don't use the C word around here in response to me. Tell you the difference. This is what you can tell her. I don't speak about end of days prophecy. I'm not asking you to leave your family, right? In fact, I preach the exact opposite. If you're estranged from your family, let's get back together with them. If you're estranged from friends, let's figure it out and get back together. Because what we preach here is the opposite of what cults preach. What we preach here is connection. That's what we preach. And cults want to separate you from all of the people you love so that you just hang out. I don't want you to just hang out with people on the lifeboat. That's not at all where we're going with this. I want you to hang out with the entire world. I want you to reach back out to friends and family and all of the things that make life great, right? Charlie Murphy, what's happening, my brother? And every once in a while, I get an email from someone who says his last name's not Murphy. I know, I do. His last name is Mullins. He was the first subscriber in my channel and a very close friend of our family's, but I pick on him because I like the last name. The Charlie Murphy thing. I said it by accident one day and I thought, oh, I love that. I'm sticking with it. I love that. It does sound, you know what, Tina Marie, though, I get this a lot. If you knew how many times a week somebody sends me an email that says, dude, you're running a cult. I'm like, man, I don't get it. I don't. But you know something? A lot of people don't research cults. You know, a lot of them. But let's talk about a cult. Hello, Just Pauline. We're going to talk about a cult. Why? Why? Because a lawsuit came out about 6 days ago. And lawsuits have come out a million times against the church. This is nothing new. People sue the Church of Scientology all of the time. They really do. This is a little different. This is the mother of Whitney Mills. If you watch other SPTV creators, you may have heard people talk about the death of Whitney Mills. This is horrific. This is one of the worst ways that you could die on this planet. And boy, oh boy, man, you talk about blood on your hands. This is so mother loving obvious. You've probably heard the story, but here's where it changes a little bit, right? This was a lovely girl. She lived in Clearwater, Florida. She had moved down there, and she's the only person in her family that joined the cult of Scientology. And she got help from the cult, air quotes, help from the cult, in a very similar fashion to this is not the first time that this has happened. Obviously, we're familiar with Lisa McPherson. This is Lisa McPherson 2.0, right? K-Fic, I'm glad that you're here. This is the Lisa McPherson story all over again. The difference being that this time they didn't let her die on the premises. They were smart enough to let her die in her house. However, she was being guarded around the clock, basically, by volunteers. See, this is how the cult will get away, but they can come out and say, no staff members were anywhere near her. What the hell is a staff member? Don't you have to pay a staff member? Right? So all those people who signed a billion-year contract can't be staff members, right? Or OT-8s that volunteer to go in and work with people. They're volunteers, right? They're volunteers. So the cult can get away with saying, we never sent any employees over there. No, we had nothing to do with that. There was never any employees. There was never any staff. Do you guys have staff? I mean, seriously, who the hell are you paying? You think the cult of Scientology is paying a lot of people? No, these people are indentured servants. They sign away their life and the next one and the next one and the next one. Friggin' craziness. But anyway, this girl's mom, the story popped out a long time ago. This is not a new story. The lawsuit is the new story. Mom did it right. Mom did it right. Mom's got receipts. Mom's got text messages. And mom is suing all of the right entities. People do this with a knee-jerk reaction. Someone passes away. They're pissed off. They call their attorneys. They say, I think they had something to do with this. The lawsuit comes out. This took a long time to put this lawsuit together. And it's written beautifully. This thing, if I were the cult of Scientology, Susie in paradise, you look great in green. If I were the cult of Scientology, I'd be scared crapless about this. Been hanging around longer, but member for 6 months. Sweet tea, you've been around forever. Really feels that way. I love it. I really do. So here's what happens. The lawsuit comes out. And they're suing the cult of Scientology. And they're suing the cult of Scientology because Whitney Mills was misdiagnosed with cancer and with Lyme disease. If you know anything about Scientology, Lyme disease is the catch-all, right? This is what doctors seem to diagnose everybody with Lyme disease because, it's just that easy catch-all BS. OTH spending $260K to go up the bridge so that they can volunteer is hilarious, isn't it? Especially when they can shape time and space, right? If you're no longer governed by the constraints of the reality of what it means to be a human being, if you're now superhuman, why the hell didn't you just go fix her? She was OT8 herself. Now, let me tell you the sad story. She's reaching out to her doctor who, guess what? Killed Lisa McPherson. Same freaking doctor. I'm not playing with you people. I mean, When I say this is Lisa McPherson 2.0, this is Lisa McPherson 2.0. This is the same jackwagon that worked on her. How frightening a concept is this? 1 second here, because I want to make sure I don't get this guy's name wrong. Dr. David Minkoff. Sorry, people. I used to remember things. Dr. David Minkoff is the same doctor that was treating, Lisa McPherson. And he lost his license back in the day. But of course, it's been reinstated. Now he can't practice. He doesn't get to treat patients for mental illness. That's my understanding. That's how I read it. They suspend his right to treat people with mental illness. Then why is he treating someone with mental illness? Because this woman clearly was mentally ill. He charged her about $20K to get treatments that were alternative. So insurance didn't cover him. Stuff like, I'm going to say this and get demonetized or at least not get pushed, but ivermectin, right? That was one of the things that they had put her on. She also believed she had an ovarian cyst. Now, if you are suffering from mental illness and you believe that you can change reality, you're an OT8. So she's begging the doctor, going, how can I be sick at an OT8? Like, I don't understand. What is happening? And the doctor's response was really lovely. If you read the text messages, he said, you're OT8, right? Eye of the tiger. You got this. Put in TRO, work on it. People, there's a paper trail of a woman begging a doctor for help who's telling her to go do Scientology instead of getting treatments, that she doesn't need help. She can get Scientology, no problem. Well, her skin felt like it was on fire. There was a lot of stuff that sounds like mental illnesses a lot of people here on the boat have experienced. She felt like her skin was on fire. She felt an incredible pressure in her head at all times. She believed the Lyme disease had gotten into her brain and her brain was swelling. She didn't have Lyme disease. She didn't have ovarian cancer. But with all of this going on, so the guilt of being OT8 and not being able to fix yourself, right? Having the big C, which she didn't have. So she talked to one of her handlers, one of the people who volunteers, who's going out and babysitting. And they were asked about a procedure for dropping the body. Plain and simple. Is there a procedure? Is there something that can be done, right? In extreme cases where I don't want to do this anymore. She was ready to end her life. And they told her, yeah, there is one. Now, the cult, right after the lawsuit, came out and said, nothing like that exists. There is no assist for dropping the body, right? Doesn't happen. It's never happened. There's never been anything written about it. There's never been there's no policy. There's nothing. This is a figment of imagination. Trouble is, it ain't a figment of imagination. Not by any stretch of the imagination. And these asshats have it on film. You see, when old Baked Beans Grill, right, when he died, at the big ceremony that they had for him, like Marty, whatever his name is, Rathbone. Marty, what? Anyway, this cat comes walking out and says, LRH dropped the body. But before he did, he was kind enough to write us an assist for how to do it. What do you do when you're getting ready to go? Well, LRH took care of it. How to drop the body properly. Comes out and says it. This is going to be fun in front of a judge, right? Their statement says nothing like that exists. On film, you got one of the leaders of your cult coming out and saying, joking, don't start trying to do it today, though, because you got to get through all the OT levels first, and you got to wait till end of life, but he did it. He was kind enough to do it, and it'll be in there. You can come down to Flag, or you can go to one of these places, and you can come in, and you can do your end-of-life assist, to drop the body assist. So when her handler tells her this, she texts one of the other handlers and asks about it. And because she's in a frightening cult, passenger shaming, looking good in green, because she's in a dangerous cult, she then sends a text that says, I screwed up big time. And her handler says, what do you mean? I texted so-and-so and asked them about the drop the body assist. The response was, ooh, literally, like, damn, ooh, you did what? Bummer. And then she said, well, with everything you've got going on, with the big C and the Lyme disease, and they'll understand. They'll understand. This doesn't exist. Oh, it exists. It exists. So what the hell are they going to do on this lawsuit? Because the way I look at it, right, this is bulletproof. And they sued everybody, including the doctor who now seems to have done this twice. But they're also suing the parent company. This is a mistake, apparently, that is made very often, right? There's this International Society of Scientologists or whatever, this kind of the parent company of each of these little orgs. Well, this lawyer did his friggin' homework because they figured the structure out, sued everybody. Wharton Thistle. I am terribly sorry to hear that, my brother. Wharton says today sucks. My wife split. I can't begin to tell you, Wharton, that I'm hurting for you, brother. I really am, and I've been there. I've told this story before. I don't walk out. I get divorced because people leave me. So I've been through this. I really have, and I know the struggles that have been leading up to it because you and I have talked about this. As bad as it is, and as bad as it feels, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. I know that sounds probably cold and callous, and I don't mean it to, but there have just been so many times where something happens and you go, man, this is the worst. This too shall pass. The sun is going to come up tomorrow. You're still going to be Wharton Thistle, and we're still going to have to do what we do. I want you to know that anything that we can do to support you through this, man, please reach out. I mean it. Marissa Robertson says, according to Quack Watch, in 2001, the Florida Board of Medicine fined David Minkoff $10,000 and suspended his license for 1 year to be followed by 2 years of probation. That's right. Minkoff, classy guy. He just tells people, buck up, eye of the tiger. I know that she was not sober, Wharton, and I know that you struggled with that. Alicia, good to see you. Krista, Melinda, glad you're here. So, what ended up happening to this lovely 40-year-old, beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful, vivacious 40-year-old woman. She took her own life, right? Only a couple about 48 hours after the last text saying she was concerned about, the fact that she had sent it. She wasn't concerned that she had asked about this. She was concerned that she had asked about it via a text because they all know that they're in a really restrictive cult, right? That doesn't let you talk and doesn't let you ask questions and doesn't let you do things like that. She'll get thrown onto some stupid can treatment. Late night snacks. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. No way that you remove yourself from planet Earth is pleasant. Let's be honest. But she set herself on fire. Did you hear that? She set herself on fire. How bad does your mental illness have to be for you to self-immolate? Light a match and set yourself on fire. You got any idea how bad mental illness has to be? It's not what you call a painful way out, right? Hello, Barbie. When that was too much, she picked up a bang bang and discharged one round into her head, which unfortunately did not take her out instantly. She died over a day later in a hospital after her brother went over and forced entry into the house because they were concerned about her. They didn't talk to her about the cult because they knew she would disconnect. Mom knows plenty about this cult. Mom didn't do anything when her daughter was alive because she knew that cult would force the daughter out of their lives completely if she started talking about Scientology. But she did what my girl did. She got receipts, text messages. There is so much here, people. There is so much here. And it's the same doctor that treated Lisa McPherson. Are you shitting me? Honest to God, are you kidding? How could this possibly look any worse for this cult? So I'm going to ask you to do something for me, right? Because I've seen this crap work. You may think I'm crazy, but probably not come as a shock to any of you that politicians don't do dick unless it threatens their political career. If they think maybe they're not going to get elected, or they think maybe they'll get a few extra votes, they'll look at whatever you're talking about. And a bunch of people on the lifeboat stepped up to the plate about Fent. And so many people reached out that I had a politician actually reach out to me. So I'm here to tell you that you can look up and get emails, right, for every single political official in the United States of America. And when you got 4 minutes to spare, knock off about 6 or 7 emails, right? Get it in a form that just says, what the hell is going on with this cult and why are they tax exempt? How about researching what happened to this beautiful, vibrant girl, right, who was literally stolen from us, right, by this friggin' cult? The Mills family, I would imagine, is going to be asking for a very, very serious number. I don't know what that number is, but how can this happen again, says Marion Calabro? Because this is their policy. This is their policy. They can't let somebody, especially like an OTA, they can't let somebody get into the medical system, right? God forbid. They'll go down to the hospital to try to get you out of there. They got to protect the cult. So this isn't new. And by the way, this isn't the second time they've killed somebody. Trust and believe it's not, right? But this is the second time this jackwagon doctor had something to do with it. And how nice is it that when the autopsy comes, she doesn't have either of the things that he charged her $20K for treatment on? Huh? No cancer. How much did cancer have to do with her unaliving herself? How much did the belief that you had Lyme disease in your brain and that it was causing all of the problems you were having, how much did that have to do with unaliving herself? This guy's an epic douchebag, right? An epic douchebag. But they brought her to the only doctor they could because he's a friggin' Scientologist, right? Can't take her to a real doctor because a real doctor will out the cult. The hell do you mean you've been doing this, this, and this? Right? I'm sorry, ivermectin? This is what you're treating mental illness with? Eye of the tiger? Holy crap. Your pitch is Eye of the Tiger? The cult of Scientology treats, let's see here, treats those with illness and the way they treat these people. Oh, it's a horrific story. It's a horrific story. Now, you know what? I've said this for a really long time. It's okay to be a part of the problem if you're ignorant. It really is. And here's what I mean by that. I made Scientology jokes for years, and I worked with these people, and we'd say stuff like crazy Scientology eyes, right? Well, they've been brainwashed. It's probably not something I ought to be joking about. But now I happen to love an ex-Scientologist. And a lot of my friends are second gens, and I've seen what this cult can do, right? I've absolutely seen what this cult can do, as all of us have, right? Okay, we need to do something about it. Because at this point, if you don't do something about it with everything you know, I question who you are. Sorry. What kind of person are you? If you can hear this story and just walk away and go back to the next friggin' show you're going to watch, ask what that says about you. Take 10 minutes, right? And send some emails. Start asking politicians how this effing cult can do this to kids in our country. Huh? I think that's a legitimate question, right? And if you're going to allow it, it's going to be tax-free. It's one thing to let people murder each other in the name of a cult or a god or whatever. Knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. Trouble is these people reproduce, right? And then you get situations where they take beautiful kids and at the age of 4, put cans in their hands and start teaching them things like, whatever you do, don't ever forget, buddy. What could possibly go wrong starting off 5-year-olds on that? Huh? To err is human, and to forgive, lets the person that did something wrong off. You can't do that. Right? Every other religion on planet Earth. To err is human, to forgive divine. Right? Not L. Ron Hubbard. Not that bacon bean, bad breath con man. Right? Holy crap. Can you imagine turning and bowing to that fool and not feeling stupid? Have you ever seen when they do those ceremonies? They turn and do the salute and the bow. My God, dude. Holy hell. How about if just a solid one here. If you're in a religion and part of the doctrine is you can't research your own religion, run. Right? That's a problem. Okay. So back to this. I don't know what you call it. I mean, the word murder comes to mind, but certainly got to throw manslaughter, right? If it's not negligent homicide, how about that? Right? To leave somebody like this, here's another interesting question. They can't figure out where the pew-pew came from, right? Which is really funny because those things leave paper trails, right? Normally when you purchase one, so far, they got nothing on this girl purchasing anything. She never purchased somebody did, right? Someone did. It got in that house somehow. And you know what? Where the hell were the handlers? They got all these people babysitting her. How did she light herself on fire and then unalive herself? If you got 3 people babysitting this girl, how did that happen? And did you haul ass after it did? Because that's a big deal, right? That's a pretty big damn deal. Here's another one. You got 2 or 3 OT8s babysitting this girl. Can't you bend time and reality with 3 of you together, right? These people can create entire universes according to L. Con Hubbard. You could just create your own, but you can't help this girl. I mean, at that point, don't you go, holy shit, this is a con? Yeah, they do. Trust me, they do. Trust me. You think OT8s don't go, how come I got a bad back? Why do I have arthritis? I was with Quibs. I think you guys, we took you on the ride with us. We were in Kansas City. We went down to the KC org. Do you remember that? She saw a friend of hers, a guy that she knew, an acquaintance, who was barely able to walk into the building. The man looked like he was going to fall down, and I'm not picking on him. That's a crap way to go through life. I feel like that all the time. But I'm not a superhuman being, right? I have not achieved operating Phaeton 8. See, I'm just a convict. Right? But these people who achieve OT8, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, got your entire life into it. What are you going to do? Go, all right, it's a scam. I guess I'll walk away now. No, you'll just live the rest of your life knowing everything that you're doing is a lie. And you'll just put up with it. And if you think that's BS or that's not how it's happening, I worked so one-on-one for a really long time with an OT8, right? He wasn't an OT8 at the time. He was climbing up the bridge of unlimited bullshit or whatever they call that, right? But I know this cat. I know him like I know convicts that I was in prison with. Like I know this cat. I partied with him. We did drugs together when he wasn't supposed to. I got him in so much trouble. He was always in trouble. His wife was writing KRs on him, right? Because I was always like, I was an SP, I guess. She didn't want me anywhere near him. And we were making a ton of money together. Unfortunately, every time I got in his car, magically the following day, his wife found paraphernalia. And I swear to you people, I don't ever leave anything behind. So could have been friends of mine or whatever, but a bong here, a syringe there. She had no sense of humor whatsoever. But I watched him do a video the other day talking about the 4-foot-tall cult leader. What's his name? Miscavige. David Miscavige. I watched him do about 10 minutes. It looked like a hostage video. I'm not kidding you. The BS that was rolling out of this man's mouth about what a great, I know this cat. Like, I know this cat. And it looked like a hostage video. He knows. He said to me once, I've told the story on the boat many times. He wanted to get me into Scientology, and they threw a party out at their house, and they had a ton of famous people there, right? So I go to this party, and hold on one second. It's one of those situations that I said to him, look, man, I have a firm belief in God, right? I'm a spiritual cat. I have a very serious belief in God. He goes, not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, you can be a Catholic and a Scientologist. You can be a Christian and a Scientologist. You can be a Buddhist and a Scientologist. Yeah, any of those things. I go, no shit, huh? The reason I didn't get involved had nothing to do with me thinking it's a cult. I mean, there were cool people there. Tom Cruise was in the room. Like the problem was they were trying to pay me to be a public speaker for them. And when they got to the part where they're like, you get paid in the courses, I'm like, yeah, miss me with that, dude. Like I'm gonna spend 10 months of the year on the road, and in my 2 months off, I'm gonna go speak for the cult of Scientology, and I'm not gonna get paid. I'm gonna have to go do homework as part of the pay. Miss me with that. Like I laughed at him, but he said to me, "No offense to your religion," he said, "but the reason Scientology works for me," he's talking about himself, "is because I do not believe in anything." He said, "This is science. I hold the cans." He's like, "There's no stupid mythology referring to God or Christ or whatever anyone who believes in something other than Scientology." He's like, "There's always that mythology. Oh, you mean like Xenu, right? Coming down and dumping shit into volcanoes and then using hydrogen bombs because that's the best he could come up with in the hydrogen bombs. What space planes? They look just like DC-10s. They just flew in space. What an asshat. Man, listen to those guys' lectures. If you're a drug addict, if you're in recovery, listen to that guy's lectures and tell me he wasn't spun. I'm not kidding you. Like that dude was hopped up on amphetamines and just rolling. God bless him. I mean, whatever, but piece of crap. I can't watch things with Tom Cruise anymore. Bummer. Risky Business was good. You know what? I can still suspend a little bit of disbelief. I can still pretend he's not 4 feet tall. Like when they film him next to a girl who's like 5'9" or 5'10" and he's an inch taller than her. I know he's standing on 6 phone books, right? But I don't care. I can still watch it. But I understand where you're coming from. I really do. Hey, Bacon Bits. Good to see you. Wolf Machine, glad you're here. So this is a comment that I put up, said, I hope the mother doesn't settle. I don't think it's going to matter. I'll be really honest with you. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think they survive this. Even if, I'm not saying that they're going to go out of business. I'm not saying it's going to, but news agencies are running with this. This is not SBTV covered. For the longest time, the world was afraid to cover this cult. No one's afraid of this cult anymore. You hear me? No one's afraid of this cult. The people that are out there fighting now, it's like cult busters. I ain't afraid of no cult, right? They can't do much more to me. They've already made up as much BS as they can make about me and put websites up about it and all that. So roll with it. Do what you do. But I'm going to keep slinging shit at this cult. And I'm going to follow this story and I'm going to deep dive this. Tonight I felt like crap. I was telling Quibs that I was going to come on and do about a 30 or 40-minute show. Apologies for repeat. Is it worth investing in a Jacques Le Mans watch? Lady E, it depends on which Jacques Le Mans watch you're talking. Do me a favor. Email me, TommyScoville@gmail.com. Send me a picture of it. Tell me any info you can get on it. That would be good. But send it over and then I will let you know what I think. So, Tommy, what if we live in a state where there's no Scientology presence, no orgs, no churches or missions? West Virginia seems to be too poor. Not a problem. It isn't. Don't call West Virginia. Don't send an email to West Virginia. If I were you all, I would target California and I would target Florida. Those would be the two places I would be hitting politicians. Now, personally, because of what I do all the time on the lifeboat, I have the ability to do this. Like when I'm doing it for drugs, I do it to every single politician in America. I do it to all of them. Why not? Right? But if every single person in SPTV, everybody who considers themselves part of this anti-cult thing that we got going on, if everybody who was involved in this said, I'm going to send 5 emails a month, I promise you could get this pulled. I don't say you're going to get rid of the cult, but if the Internal Revenue Service says nothing you do anymore is tax-free, watch how fast this shit unravels. Right? Because number one, if this woman settles, do you have any idea the size check they're going to have to write for this puppy? Think about it. Are you familiar with the entire discovery process? The cult's got to be doing this one right now. they got to be doing this one, because one of two things is going to happen. They're going to write a check so big that it's going to violently make them ill. It may even cause the little guy to have an asthma attack. Oh, I forgot. He was cured of his asthma. Pretty damn nervous about that COVID crap, wasn't he? For a guy who cured his asthma? That still doesn't jive with me. If they were, why were they so panicky? If that dude did nothing to bring it in on himself, isn't he safe? Isn't that part of their own doctrine? Right? Was it the SPs at the door or what? Weirdo. Tommy, what's my email address again? TommyScoville@gmail.com. Was this recent? The death took place in 2022. The lawsuit is 6 days old. And I want to tell you something, people. It's a work of art. Honest to God, it is. I was telling Quibs, I just read a lot of legal crap, right? That was my hustle in prison for years. I just worked in the law library and I did everything. Like if a guy was getting divorced, I helped him with that. If a guy was doing, there were people whose parents died while they were in there, and we would help them with the estate stuff or whatever we could do. A lot of appeals, but you see a lot of legalese and you see a crap load of lawsuits because everybody in the BOP is suing the BOP. You got nothing else to do, right? So they're all taking a shot at it. And I've read them written up by attorneys. I've read them written up by paralegals. But I'm telling you, people, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. These are not hypotheticals. And the dumb bastards, you hear that? The dumb bastards come out and make a statement. There is no such thing as an end-of-life assist. It has never occurred. It's not even an unofficial. Boy, oh boy, you can go and Google, right, Marty's speech the day that LRH, when they announced to everybody that LRH was gone. He tells you clear as crap that LRH in his benevolence before leaving, before dropping the body and heading to, before all of that, he was kind enough to write out the end of life, unalive yourself, drop the body, assist. I watched it like 6 times. No way a judge listens to that and goes, wait, whoa, what? You said this doesn't exist. There's a drop the body assist. Well, you said it doesn't. Yeah, you're screwed. You come out with your statement to the world. How the hell do you not know Marty made that video? Has that not got to be one of the biggest days ever for that cult? How do you not know that exists? When I was 10 years old, I read that Scientology book, and it was ridiculous. Thank goodness my uncle thought so too. Pure lies and evil. You would be referring to Dianetics, right? Do you know what's crazy? Sister Scoville, my older sister, when she was a junior in high school, was reading Dianetics by LRH. So what does that make you? 17. That would have made me 11. The following year, I read it. Because she had it on, I read everything she had in her bookshelf. When she went to college, I read everything she had in her bookshelf. I always kind of looked up to my sister, and we're still really, really close friends, but I read everything in there, and I read it. And I'll be honest with you. No shit. I'll be honest with you. I don't think everything LRH said is crazy. What do you think of that? I don't. He stole from so much that is absolutely legit, that there's a lot of stuff in there. No, I'm a firm believer that we have a problem with the reactive mind. I really do. To the level he talks about, that your reactive mind is bummed out from an engram at birth because mom was screaming. No, you missed me with all that crap. I don't buy any of that. But he stole from enough actual science. The whole David Miscavige takeover was very Stalin-like, creepy. I agree with you, Kristen Melinda. I agree with you. A broken clock is right twice a day, says Danny Mitchell. You're absolutely right. And you know what? If everything you did, you stole from someone else, there's probably some good stuff in it. And I got news for you. This man was an epic thief, right? None of these concepts, honestly. What he was really good at, and I'll give him credit, not sticking up for Marty, but it was Pat. Oh, thank you, Pat. Thank you. Pat Broker that spoke about the end of the rundown. Rexican Messler, thank you. My memory is not what it used to be. My grandmother and mother got out of Scientology and went to the evangelical church. I see things now years after they've passed. It's mind blowing. Christy Kress, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. No, thank you for that. I hate to be wrong, so thank you for that. But I'll tell you something else. This isn't the show. This isn't me talking about this. This is me coming on to tell you I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to give you the names of every single person that was involved in this. We're going to break down every single bit of this so that when you guys start calling politicians, you really know what the hell to tell them. That's my goal. We're going to talk about who was assigned to this woman as handler. We're going to talk about the text messages. I'm going to show you screenshots of all the text messages. We're going to go through all this stuff. Kristen Kruger says, I agree, but the overall message didn't ring true. I went down many roads learning, and there were always nuggets of wisdom. You're 100% right. What he did was take a whole spat of fantastic concepts and ideas, and then bring them together in a stew that made it taste like shit. Any one of these ideas on their own, if you actually chased it down to who thought of it, fascinating stuff. May not be life-changing, but you can take little bits and pieces of it. But when you throw it all into one stew and realize that the last person he was idolizing before he made that stew was Aleister Crowley and the guy from and Jack Parsons, right, from JPL. Yeah. Okay, he was a really jacked up individual. Really jacked up individual. When Marty tried to escape the cult of Scientology, he lived in the same town as I do, and I swear he was money laundering through the bakery that was never open. Well, you never know. You never know. You know what's silly? The little town that I grew up in, I didn't know this until years later, but the little town that I grew up in, they used to dump people from witness relocation in that town. And we had a person in town that was running a video store, and they were never there. They were never there. And we used to go, how do they stay in business? Well, they didn't have to. The government was keeping them there until a trial. So that business, now it was all a hoax. But yeah, it's weird. Yes, Gamer Jackie says, basically it was Andy Broker who was supposed to take over. LRH wasn't too happy with Pat's money squandering. Well, two people do get a little bummed out when you start squandering the money that they rightfully stole themselves, right? But Davey did a hostile takeover. You know what? I guess. Got to give the guy credit for that, right? I mean, he's a scumbag, but he's good at it. I have to run. Chrissy Crest, please be safe. And thank you for spending time with us. I mean that. I appreciate all of you. Do me a favor, people. Hit subscribe. I want 20,000 back, right? I took off for a while. We lost hundreds of people. I'm pissed. I want 20,000 back. Please hit subscribe. Pat Broker was also a raging alcoholic. Well, we can help him with that if he wants to. I'm kidding. A little late. And Gamer Jackie says, exactly. Yeah, one of those Secret Service towns. Bacon Bits Ben Turner, the town that I grew up in, did place a person. You know what's really funny? He didn't show up for court. In fact, what he did was run a huge con in the town, telling parents he could get them Cabbage Patch dolls. And he skipped town with about 60 grand. That's what he did. Please do it. Go after Scientology for Idiots forum. You're not the only one whose brain is messing up these days. Yeah, Jill Judd. I'm probably not. Wharton, keep your head up, bro. E1, hit the like button. I appreciate that, everyone. If you would hit the like button and hit subscribe. I want it back. You hear me? I'm not messed up about saying it. I want it back. Yes, YouTube randomly unsubscribes people. There's no question they do. And I know almost to the extent that they do it too. And ours was really extreme. It was way higher. And look, a lot of people got pissed at me. Not you guys, you're still here. But a lot of people got really angry when I stepped away. And they reached out to tell me that they unsubscribed. So it's not a shocker. But you know what? They got that right. right? If you're unhappy that I'm not doing enough content, you can leave. I get it. I mean, I'm not mad at people for that, but I want it back. So if you haven't hit subscribe, do that for me, please. It would make me happy. Teacher nurse, my question is, as far as we have come, much as we know, how do adults fall in? Really deep answer. I'll tell you what they do. They did not acquire billions of dollars because they suck at this. They're excellent at it. The best salespeople I ever met in my life all came from Scientology. They're vicious. They are vicious. So it starts very innocuous. Somebody walks by a building and goes, Scientology, man, it's not that Tom Cruise stuff. Don't believe everything you hear. There's a lot of propaganda out there, but come on in. You got nothing, no harm, no foul, right? Come in and take a personality test. Sometimes it's just, people who are seeking, right? The what's the old expression? When the pupil is ready, right? Then the teacher appears. If you're seeking really hard in life and you come across a cult, it's going to get you. They love bomb the shit out of you. They love bomb the hell out of you. They start out with very reasonable basic courses about communication and such. Kristen Melinda, spot on, right? Also, right? Also, all of a sudden you got a tribe. You got all these people who are super nice to you and they're reaching out to you. What is it that everybody on planet Earth needs more of right now? Seriously. Connection. We are disconnecting as a society. So when you meet a group of people and they all seem to be trying to better themselves and they're very nice to you, right? And you're getting text messages, hey, heard you joined. Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to meeting you, blah, blah. They love bomb the crap out of you. I think you may have lost subs from the video where you said, I hate you guys. Mara, you're probably right. Connections. They're all looking for connections. Make no mistake. But here's the thing, Mara. Truthfully, it didn't happen. It was 6 weeks, 5 weeks after that before the first one started to tail off. It was right at the break. But whatever. Hit subscribe, right? Statistically speaking, 30% of the people that watch me will not hit subscribe. Don't know why, but I'd like you to. We are all open to influence. If you think we aren't, why does advertising and negative political ads pay so much, right? And here's another thing. They make it so socially awkward to leave without saying yes to something. Then they never stop asking for something. That's right. 25 years later, they will still be calling you. They will still be reaching out to you. They will still be sending you emails. They're vicious. And if you're like these guys would say to me, I would hire guys who had worked selling Scientology, literally out of their boiler rooms. And they would come in and the guy would say to me, hey, I'm going to stay and work late. And I'd go, huh? No, you're leaving at 9. Now, man, I'm just going to put 2 more hours in. I'm like, you can't call somebody after 9 o'clock at night, right? There's a law. You can't call someone after 9 o'clock at night. You will get in trouble. And they would get pissed. This guy said to me, we used to call people the day their children were born. The day their children were born. You're in the hospital. Your son's being born. They're calling you going, let's set this shit up. You're going to want him to go up the bridge. We may as well start getting these first courses. He's like, you have no idea. I'd call on Christmas Day. He's like, round the clock. They're vicious. But it doesn't start that way. It starts out very small, starts out very incremental. They're going to teach you how to communicate better, right? Everything just seems great until it's not. And you give yourself up in small increments. And they're genius about it. All cults are. They're freaking genius about it. They're going to teach you a new language that you can't speak with anybody else, right? You're going to write KRs. You're going to do TROs. All of these different things that LRH was doing everything he could to come up with as many abbreviations as he could, take words that mean one thing in the English language and make it mean something else. And we had the dictionary here. It's this friggin' thick, and there's 3 of them. There's 3 of them. Divide and conquer. Get you away from normal society until everybody you know is a Scientologist, right? Got to go to a doctor? Go see Menkoff. You need a dentist? We'll take you to a Scientologist. You need an accountant? We'll take you to a Scientologist. Pretty soon, there's no one on planet Earth you know who isn't a Scientologist. And that's probably a good thing because you couldn't carry on a friggin' conversation with them anymore anyway, right? Even if you could, you wouldn't be allowed. Sarah, I hope my sunburn feels better soon too. I was really heavily love bombed by a narcissist. It works. You know what? It absolutely does. And I'm glad you said that because narcissists do the exact same thing. They do. It's the same techniques. Honestly, think about it. What it would have to be, wouldn't it? What is a narcissist? It's a one-man control group, right? They have perfected the art of the sale. They go for a person's weaknesses or vulnerability and manipulate that person until they reel them in. It's insidious, and that's how all cults bring people in. Absolutely, Anne from Mass. Um, I don't think you can call that opinion. I think that's fact. I really do. I think that's fact. Whether you're Jim Jones, 900 people, right, took their own lives. Well, a lot of them took their own lives. Some of them were forced or whatever, but it was the largest mass unaliving in history, right? Religious, just absolutely horrific. And you go, how did this happen? Well, because he didn't come out the first Sunday and go, we're heading to Guyana, right? In South Africa, South America, we're gonna go to French Guiana, and we're gonna set up this little town, and then I'm gonna get all of you to drink cyanide, right? You probably would pass on that. But that's not how it starts. Farting is life. Well, there's a you don't see that too often. SP means suppressive person. Everything bad on planet Earth is caused by suppressive people. Tommy, vinegar takes the stain out of the sunburn. Yeah, and it would probably have me downtown doing bad things. I don't know how much you know about my drug of choice, but it smells so much like vinegar that I can't. I was working in a kitchen in federal prison, and somebody dropped a 1 gallon bottle of vinegar, and it was funny because I had just come in from outside and it hit me in the face like I caught a wave of it, and I peeled off and went directly to my boss's office. I'm like, I gotta go. You got to get me out of this room. And he goes, "Are you a heroin addict?" And I'm like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "Because 3 other people just said the same thing." And when I asked him why, they said, "I'm addicted to heroin. I can't be in this room." Right? I'll go nuts. So yeah, I bet it helps. I can't get near that stuff, man. Vinegar's bad juju for people like me. Systroming was the nastiest thing that I've ever eaten, and that's really, really hard. Because I've eaten some really gross stuff, but that is the nastiest stuff I've ever eaten. Oops, I'm new, kind of confused. Found you on STS. Roosty. Okay, here you go. I'll bring you up to speed. I run what is a Live Your Best Life channel. We talk about all kinds of stuff. I hate the cult of Scientology more than anything on planet Earth. Plain and simple, my girlfriend is a second generation survivor of the cult of Scientology. A great deal of my friends are second generation survivors of the cult of Scientology. Born into that shit. No choice. Taught from the first time you could start to speak that forgiveness is bad. Just stuff. If you sat down and said, write me a textbook to screw up a child as badly as we can, they did. I'm not kidding. Talk to anybody that has anything, right, on the ball. They designed this to destroy the child. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. By the way, people, there's a big difference between a lack of knowledge in something and stupidity. Stupidity means you don't have the ability to learn, right? A lack of knowledge means no one's taught it to you yet. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my life is in the other room over there. I'm not kidding you. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. Sadly, she doesn't believe that because she lacks a formal education. Formal educations don't make you smart either. They don't. They make you formally educated. That's great. It's nice if you can tell me when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It's nice if you can tell me when World War One was or when Vietnam is. But I'd rather be with somebody that can read the room and knows when someone's hurting and knows when someone needs help. Right? That's beautiful stuff. Christy Kruger, that's such a kind thing to say. The Moonies hired a friend to play music for them. They wouldn't let him leave until he said he needed his insulin. Isn't that terrifying? Isn't that terrifying? Now, here's the deal. You can do something about this. You can. We all get really pissed. We talk about it all the time, right? We hate this cult. You can do something about this. Reach out to elected officials and tell them you want to know why this cult is tax exempt. If you have to pay your way through every level of the religion, how is it not a business? Don't say tithing, every religion, bullshit. Right? You can go to a church for the rest of your time on planet Earth and never give them $1. Tithing is voluntary, right? Even in almost all religions, not all, right? There is a church in Utah that wants 10% pre-tax, mandatory. But most religions do not force you to tithe, right? But if you have to buy your way through a cult, it's a business. Plain and simple. If you have a telemarketing center calling out to get more money out of your members, you're a business. If you're a business, you're providing a service. Even if the bullshit service you believe in, right? Even if the canned crap works, you're providing a service. You're no different than a counselor or a therapist, except you're bad at it. This has absolutely no way you can call this a religion. It's a business. And they've done very well for themselves. So I think they owe us, at a piss minimum, 38%, right? Let's get some corporate tax on this. They are just a friggin' corporation that makes money. Denise says, Mormons demand tithing. It is a very high demand religion. It is. And I try not to, listen, this is important to me. One of my best friends, when I was a public speaker, in fact, best public speaker I ever met, one of my best friends on earth, it's a gentleman named Danny. And he's LDS. He's a Mormon. And he's one of the kindest people I ever met in my life. He had 5 daughters, just an amazing family. Family man, never missed time spending with his family. Never heard him curse. Never heard that guy use a bad word in my life. Now, we did a mountain of drugs together. He had a lot of pain, and it ended up, but I have no problem whatsoever loving people in that religion and having problems with some of the stuff that religion does. If you can't separate those things, then there's a problem. I don't hate Scientologists. Honestly, to me, it's like saying I hate a victim who's been assaulted. That's the way I look at it. You know what, Debbie P? That's a great idea. Debbie P says, Tommy, a template like for a letter or the cult of Scientology. Look, you guys, if I put that together, you guys will send it. I'll put it together. Give me a couple of days. I have no problem whatsoever putting that together for you. No problem. In fact, I'll put together several, right? All you got to do is put your names on them and then fire those off. I will get them done. Give me 2 days. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day here. By the way, if I told you I was going to call you today, it's one person in particular. If I told you I was going to call you, I screwed up. I'll call you in the morning. It was on me. There's no excuse. I just was in the sun and got cooked. But you know who I'm talking to, and I'm going to help you, but I got to call you tomorrow. By the way, before anyone bums out on me, I'm helping this person get wood. That kind of wood. It's not somebody that needs to get sober. I know I don't blow people like that off, even if I'm sick. I don't. Excellent point. I had no idea about the evils of Scientology until Aaron and the actress started talking about it. I'm so grateful for the schooling. And none of them are licensed as therapists either. L. Ron started his campaign against psychiatry because they didn't want his methods. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. That, and he was shredded by them. They started talking about how stupid the guy was. And let's be really honest. He got together and he did this big demonstration of a girl that had gone through and achieved clear and all that stuff. And he was going to have total recall. He did that demonstration in front of the entire world. She couldn't remember the color tie he had on. How's that? Total recall. What color tie is Old Bacon, the baked beans teeth? Color ties he got on. Not only could she not remember the names of all the people in the room, she couldn't remember what color tie the guy was wearing. He was a laughing stock. I don't know how, honestly, how do you bounce back from that? In today's world, with all of the cameras and all of the people filming, it would have died that day. It would have. But that was a long time ago. How many religions have an army of attorneys and investigators to retain membership? Not fellowship, membership. So true. So true. They also target people who are the most vulnerable in society. They target people who feel like they don't belong, and they target people who are searching. If you knew how many people they get who are drug addicts, one of the best inroads for them to recruit people is they say we can get you off drugs, and they're going to give you a shitload of niacin, and they're going to throw you into a sweat, into a sauna and sweat the stuff out of you. There have been horrific things that have happened to people in that Narcanon BS. Look up Narcanon, Oklahoma. Sarah says, Tommy, I'm so glad I found you from Aaron. I hope you, Reese, and Huxley come to Dallas. I want to give you a hug. I'm going to come to Dallas. I was supposed to go to Dallas. If everything didn't go down the way that it did, I would have already been in Dallas. I've got someone in Dallas I got to go see. I got a very close friend in Dallas that I intend to go spend some time with. So that's going to happen. And I've got some family there as well. So I'm going to be coming that way, I promise. But this is a cult. Make no mistake, this is a cult. And my brother has a genius IQ, yet the common sense of a hamster. It's just how it goes sometimes. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. But they get people at their most vulnerable place. When I was growing up, I would hear stories of LRH living in a ship off the coast, and he did. He did. And you know what? There was a lot of crazy stuff going on that boat. That was the predecessor was the Apollo. The Apollo. And you know what it was? It was a cattle hauler. Quibbs, you can't do that and then just run off. It was a cattle hauler. This guy didn't buy a cruise ship. He bought a cattle hauler that the people redid. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. Bottom line, LRH was known to have published the most sci-fi in the world. Sat in a bar and decided during a conversation to make real money, he should start a religion. So he made one up. Angie, drop the mic. That is exactly what happened.
Sorry, I have my headphones in.
There you go. Thank you, Quebs. They target people with big hearts who only want to help, but then turn them into people who can't interact with the public or use money raised to help people who need it. Mara, booyah. Not the common sense of a panty hamster. Well played, Cricket. How is my son doing? I just spoke to him before going live. He has just crossed the Bonneville Salt Flats on his way to Salt Lake City. By the way, he is, well, I'll let him tell you, but he's going to be doing some cool stuff from Salt Lake. He's got a lot of stuff he's filmed, and he's got some stories. I won't steal it. Isn't their LA building quite realistically one block from Skid Row? I hate that moniker. No reason for you to hate it. It is what it is. It's, I mean, I know what you're talking about when you say it. I want that place to be a homeless shelter. I've said it a million times. That building should be a homeless shelter. The Celebrity Center, boy, would that just tickle me pink, man. Honest to God, get rid of a place that victimizes people. Make it the nicest homeless shelter in LA. That would make me happy. It really would. When you hear a member of the cult of Scientology, they sound super intelligent. You know why? Because one of the first things that this cult does is work on communications, right? They very seriously work on communication, and they teach you assertiveness. They get in your face and bull bait you. So the person is going to be able to communicate. The person is going to be able to be assertive. The person is going to be able to stand up for themselves. But at what cost? Well, you're going to have to give up your friends. You're going to have to give up your money, right? You're going to have to give up your family. That's sounds a lot like heroin, right? Heroin made me feel great in my own skin, but I had to give up my family. I had to give up my God. I had to give up my. Try Connection out. A Tribe Called Duff. Good to see you. Try Connection out. Doesn't charge anything. For real. Nothing. A religion that is only in it for the money and that doesn't help anyone is not a religion. It's a cult. It's a fraud. Well said. Drop that microphone. Olive Juice, how are you? March 3rd was my 10 years sober from alcohol. Hello. Was 10 years sober from alcohol. Yesterday was my birthday. I turned 49 years young. This was my first birthday since I left my tiny family cult. I need connection. Welcome. Welcome. You're in the right place for connection. And congratulations on 10 years sober from that poison. And make no mistake, people. Hey, I like a beer, but alcohol is poison. You realize it goes through your liver, right? It's poison. There's no other way to say it. Dries every cell of your body out of water. This may come as a shock to you. We're a lot happier when we're not dried out of water. Speaking of which, I'm going to go drink the rest of my electrolytes. People, I will be back tomorrow night. I think I'm going to be talking. We're not going to be talking about the cult tomorrow night, but I am going to do this proper. Holy hell. Jeffrey Canale. Tommy has a birthday next week, y'all. I love you, Jeffrey Canale. Long time no see, man. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Jeffrey's a hero of mine, people. He really is. He's a guy that did it right. And that's not easy because he started out with a really bad hand. And for a lousy poker player, because he's a terrible poker player, he really is. He's a horrific poker player. But he sure played that hand right. And he's a class act. He really is. And you know something? Papa Scoville loved him. And that's pretty high praise. My dad was really fond of Jeffrey Canale. All right, people. That's a wrap. I'm going to go chase quibs around this house. And I will see the rest of you tomorrow. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. I love you all. Bye-bye.